Muscle cells require a lot of energy, and that energy is produced by the mitochondria inside the cells. Mitochondria produce ATP, but they also produce oxidative stress. That's why it becomes important to make sure, if we're doing a lot of muscle activity, that we take our antioxidants. Hi, I'm Dr. Peter Minke. This is Minke Wellness. So there's our link between antioxidants and muscle health, okay? And that's why it's so important. Antioxidants are important for all tissues because all tissues experience some degree of oxidative stress, but the muscle cells are particularly vulnerable because they have so many mitochondria, and they need that mitochondria. They need so much energy because just doing these movements here require huge amounts of ATP as the muscle fibers contract. It gets all the way down to the actin myosin cytoskeleton as these fibers are sliding back and forth. And so this process of ratcheting and requires calcium, it requires the ATP, and so we've got a lot of factors that are going on, which is another reason why we're taking calcium during the musculoskeletal system. We always think, okay, I need calcium for my bones. We also need really good calcium balance in the bloodstream for good muscle contraction, right? And you end up getting cramps and things like that when your minerals are out of balance. But the ATP production produces a lot of oxidative stress because the mitochondria are there cranking out. They've got this electron transport chain. They produce ATP from this, and it kicks off oxidative stress. We've got these free radicals that get formed, and you might have heard of redox signaling molecules. Seems to be a term that's being kicked around. That's hydrogen peroxide, nitric oxide, and some peroneal nitrite and things like that. So those are molecules. They're relatively small molecules. They create damage in the cell, and so when those get produced, they signal to the whole system, hey, we've got oxidative damage. We need to kick into gear the healing response. We need to recruit something. But really, by the time we get those, if those are out of control, by the time we get those, it's too late. We've already created damage. So we need to have the antioxidants ready to go before we kick in that whole system. And it's much better to mop up those free radicals right at the time than it is to let them do damage and then respond, okay? So it's the problem is these mitochondria are deep inside the cell, and it's hard to get the antioxidant levels that we need all the way into the cell. So we need something like essential oils that penetrate all the way in through with small fat-soluble molecules, penetrate all the way into the membrane system of the cell and get into the mitochondria. Now, I don't have any evidence that I know of scientifically for that. I probably should go scour the paperwork and do the different scientific papers and find out if that's known. But I do have evidence. I do know that essential oils will penetrate into the cell through the membrane system. And since mitochondria are membrane-bound organelles, I have no reason to believe they wouldn't be present for that as well. A lot of different essential oils have been shown to help maintain healthy inflammation levels. Well, what's the connection? Well, inflammation is the response to oxidative stress. Oftentimes, the oxidative stress creates the damage. The damage is the signal that says, okay, well, we need inflammation, and so inflammation factors are set into gear, and that increases the amount of fluid that flows into tissue. That's why you get the swelling, because the actual cellular connections, the cell connections in the vascular system start to loosen up in response to these inflammatory responses. And you get the water flowing out of the vein tube or the arterial tube, the capillary tube. You get fluid flowing out, and that creates the swelling in the tissue. Well, swelling in the tissue brings nutrients. Okay, now that's all a good thing if that's under control. Most people have got a chronic low antioxidant levels. They're not eating enough antioxidants, and yet they're still moving. We're still running throughout the day, and that's going to build up an oxidative stress debt. It's a different kind of debt. We talked about oxygen debt already from a standpoint of we get depleted of oxygen, but here we actually get depleted of of antioxidants, and we get this oxidative stress, and it's basically an oxidative debt to the system, and we've got to repair. It's not as simple as just a simple debt, because we've got damage occurring, and under certain conditions of low antioxidants, our immune system is out of whack. If we're actually having this situation of low antioxidant in the presence of low oxygen, that's the worst, okay? Because now we actually have some of these things like vitamin C becoming a pro-oxidant because the redox levels are out of balance and the body's all confused. So it's really important, folks, to get your antioxidants. Now, there's nothing better than the red drink, in my opinion. This is our red drink, the formula we're talking about, to help with this whole situation. We've got the essential oil, the lime oil, vitality oil we're putting in here. We already have some of the essential oil that's in the Ningxia Red that already comes with the product. So there's your essential oils internally that are going to be potently antioxidant. The fat-soluble antioxidants, but then you've got your berry mix, the blueberries and pomegranate and goji berries that are all in that are water-soluble antioxidants. And then we've got our detox mechanism stimulated by the sulfurzyme that we're putting in there, and that's going to help mop up those free radicals and any other damage, the cellular damage that might have happened. But it's much better, like I said, to get those resources into the system first. Don't let it get depleted, and put those in there. So it's very important. That's why I formulated this red drink, okay? And of course, it's got the benefit of having that prebiotic in the sulfurzyme powder, but so it's good for gut health as well. But the muscle health, and if you want to talk about fatigue and achiness and things like that, and you just don't have the energy to sustain throughout the day, this drink may be the answer for you, especially if you can't get going, literally physically moving. It's those muscle cells are not producing enough energy because the system is saying, no, I can't handle any more oxidative stress. We can't produce don't have enough antioxidants to protect the cellular machinery. Now, let me tell you two other things that happen with this. When you eat partially hydrogenated vegetable oil, you weaken the membrane system and the lysosomes inside the cells and the mitochondria itself. All the membranes around all these organelles get weaker, and they start to leak. So now you have leaky mitochondria that, one, aren't producing the ATP they need to, and two, they're leaking out all this oxidative stress, even producing even more damage, okay? So it's just a bad thing all the way around to eat partially hydrogenated vegetable oil, fried fats, those kinds of things. Not a good idea. So this is why we're doing the whole wellness program here, to get all of as many of these factors under control and working in our favor. And I said there were two things. There's many we can talk about, but the other one is there's a link between oxidative stress and an autoimmune response. And here's what happens. As a cell gets damaged in the presence of, especially if it's low oxygen, high oxidative stress, then we actually have low antioxidants, low oxygen, so ischemic, and low antioxidants levels. Then we have the worst scenario ever. And then what happens is the tissue gets damaged, but the immune system is overactive, and now you've got cellular machinery that's being damaged, and instead of just being mopped up and fixed and taken off, it actually starts, the immune system starts reacting to it, and you get antibodies produced to your own cellular machinery, and that's an autoimmune response, okay? So you can have a lasting effect of not having enough antioxidants in your system and not having enough oxygen at the same time. It's a very bad combination. So we want to make sure we're breathing well. We want to make sure the muscles and tissue get good circulation, and we want to make sure we have our daily dose of antioxidants, not only for our muscle cells, but it's for all the tissue. And when we get to the nervous system, we'll find out that the nervous system has a very weak antioxidant support mechanism, and we need to really supply a lot of antioxidant support for the nerve cells. The brain does not hold a lot of antioxidants, And so it's vulnerable, okay? And here's where our heavy metals come in. Here's where our industrial pollutants and toxins come in from the outside, that we want to protect our tissue, stop poisoning ourselves, flood the body with nutrients, in this case antioxidants, and manage our stress. All the stress will wipe out all of that, okay? So one step at a time, one day at a time, every step you take, every action you take that helps the body is in the bonus category, right? We're moving in the right direction. We just want to make sure our health is moving in the upward direction. Now, some people, you can kind of tilt that angle and say, man, I want to get healthy in a hurry, right? Because I'm so down, I'm so far down, I want to get out of that nosedive, right? I mean, if I'm sitting there like this, I gotta level out. And that's the part that the first thing is, if you're in this nosedive for your health, you got to at least level out. Give yourself some time. And the level out process, once you level out, and that's that first step happened to me when I had bone cancer, and then the follow-up chemotherapy-induced lymphoma diagnosis, I was on a nosedive, and I needed to level out. And that leveling out process happened when I stopped poisoning myself. I stopped putting more junk in that was hurting me. Then I had some time to work on the other things. I wasn't healthy at that point. I just had stopped going down. And so this is why this whole wellness thing is so important. Okay, I digress. But again, mitochondria need a lot of antioxidant support. They need sulfur. They need the sulfur support, because that internal glutathione, I didn't even mention that, oh my gosh, so important. The glutathione, intracellular antioxidant, it's a thione. Anytime you hear the thio word, you're dealing with sulfur. You've got sulfur-containing amino acids. When that gets depleted, boy, the cell is really in trouble, okay? And so we want to make sure that our lead and mercury, our body has enough sulfur resources to get rid of lead and mercury. Again, another reason for the red drink, the sulfurzyme powder, the wolfberry, the Ningxia red, the lime oil. Fabulous, amazing combination. Get it, make it, and you'll be on your way to more wellness. Happy wellness, one day at a time.